Hey, stop scrolling for just 1 second. Picture this. You come home early from a canceled flight, walk into your own bedroom, and there's your husband of 12 years in bed with your best friend. They're not even shocked. They're laughing. Laughing about how they're done pretending and how once the divorce goes through they're selling the house and splitting everything while you and the kids get left with nothing. Most people would scream, cry, throw things, or call everyone they know. But Emily didn't do any of that. She smiled, closed the door quietly, walked back to her car, and spent the next 6 months methodically destroying their perfect little plan. This is hands down the most satisfying revenge story I have ever come across on this channel. If you love stories where the betrayed finally get even in the smartest possible way, smash that like button right now because you are going to want to hear every single detail of how Emily turned the tables so hard they never saw it coming. Stick around because this one is going to hit different. Emily and Alex had been married for 12 solid years. On the outside, everything looked picture perfect. They had 2 young kids, a nice house in a quiet suburban neighborhood, summer vacations every year, and the kind of life that made other couples jealous when they scrolled through their social media photos. Alex worked in sales and traveled 4 or 5 days a week for work. He brought home a good paycheck and always talked about closing the next big deal. Emily ran a small online business from home, so she could be there when the kids got off the bus and handle school pickups and doctor appointments without missing a beat. She handled the household, the bills, the emotional labor, and still managed to grow her little side hustle into something that brought in decent extra income. They seemed like the couple who had it all figured out. Friends would say things like, "You two make marriage look easy." But behind closed doors, the cracks had been forming for a long time. Alex's phone suddenly required a password that he never used to have. He started taking longer showers when he got home from trips, and the smell of a women's perfume that definitely wasn't Emily's would linger on his clothes. Date nights that used to be sacred started getting canceled at the last minute because of sudden work emergencies. Emily would brush it off, telling herself she was just being paranoid or insecure. She trusted him after all. They had built a life together. Then her best friend Lisa started acting strange too. Lisa had been in their lives for almost as long as the marriage. She was the godmother to one of the kids, the person Emily called when she needed to vent or celebrate. But lately Lisa was always too busy to hang out. She dodged girls' nights, made weird excuses when Emily suggested coffee, and seemed nervous whenever Alex's name came up in conversation. Emily noticed, but again she pushed the thoughts away. She didn't want to believe her own best friend could be capable of something so low. The day everything shattered started like any other. Emily's flight home from a quick business trip got canceled due to bad weather. Instead of spending another night in a hotel, she decided to surprise Alex and the kids by coming home a day early. She picked up flowers on the way, excited to walk through the door and see their faces. She let herself in quietly, hoping to catch them in a sweet family moment. Instead, she heard voices coming from upstairs. Laughing, playful, intimate. Her stomach dropped, but she kept walking. When she pushed open the bedroom door, there they were. Alex and Lisa, naked, in her bed. The sheets she had just washed 2 days ago. They weren't scrambling to cover up or making excuses. They were relaxed, comfortable. Alex had his arm around Lisa, and they were talking about the future like it was already decided. "We just have to play it cool until the divorce is final," Alex was saying. "Once we sell the house, we can split everything 50-50 and finally be together without hiding." Lisa laughed and kissed his shoulder. "Emily will be fine. She has her little business. The kids will adjust." Emily stood there frozen in the doorway for what felt like an eternity but was probably only 10 seconds. 12 years of memories flashed through her mind. The wedding day, the births of their children, the late nights talking about their dreams. All of it crumbling in real time while the 2 people she trusted most in the world casually planned to discard her like yesterday's trash. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She didn't throw the flowers she was still holding. She simply backed out of the room without a sound, closed the door, walked downstairs, put the flowers on the kitchen counter, and left the house. She sat in her car in the driveway for 20 full minutes staring at nothing while her entire world burned down around her. Most people in that moment would have exploded. They would have confronted them right there, called family members in tears, posted angry rants online, or done something impulsive that would have given Alex and Lisa ammunition in the coming divorce battle. Emily felt all of those emotions, but she made a different choice. She decided in that moment that she was not going to give them the satisfaction of seeing her break. She was going to make them pay, and she was going to do it in a way that left them with no way out. That decision changed everything. Quick question for you right now. If you walked in on that exact scene, what would be the very first thing you would do? Would you scream? Would you cry? Would you walk away like Emily did? Drop your honest answer in the comments below, because I read every single one and I want to know how you would handle that level of betrayal. Emily drove to a coffee shop a few miles away and sat there for another hour just breathing and thinking. She didn't call anyone. She didn't post anything. She simply opened the notes app on her phone and started writing down every suspicious thing she could remember over the last year. The late nights, the perfume, the password on the phone, the canceled dates, the way Lisa had been avoiding her. By the time she finished that list, she had a clear plan forming in her head. She was not going to react emotionally. She was going to respond strategically. Step 1 was silent evidence collection, and she executed it like a professional. That same night, she went home and acted completely normal. She kissed Alex on the cheek when he came downstairs, asked how his day had been, and made small talk about the kids' school projects. He had no idea she knew. He actually smiled and told her he loved her. The audacity was almost impressive. While he was in the shower, she quietly went through his suitcase from the latest trip and photographed every receipt, every hotel bill, every little note she could find. She checked the family laptop and found deleted browser history that a quick search recovered easily. She took screenshots of every questionable text message preview that popped up on his locked phone when notifications came through. The next morning, while Alex was at work, she called a private investigator recommended by a friend of a friend. She paid cash so there would be no paper trail connected to their joint accounts. The investigator was discreet and experienced with exactly this kind of situation. Over the next 6 weeks, he delivered pure gold. Photos of Alex and Lisa meeting in different cities during his so-called work trips. Hotel receipts with both their names on them. Audio recordings from a bug placed in Alex's car where they talked openly about their plans to leave Emily with as little as possible. Bank statements showing small transfers to an account Lisa controlled. Even messages where they mocked Emily's business and joked about how she would struggle as a single mom. Emily never tipped her hand once. She continued cooking dinner, helping with homework, and sleeping in the same bed as Alex every night. She smiled when he talked about future family vacations. She laughed at his jokes, all while quietly building a file on a USB drive that was becoming more damning by the day. By week 8, she had enough evidence to make any divorce lawyer salivate, and enough to ruin both their reputations in their professional and social circles. Alex still thought he was the smartest guy in the room, pulling off the perfect double life. He had no clue his wife was 10 steps ahead and gathering ammunition that would end his comfortable existence. Imagine sleeping next to the person who just betrayed you every single night, knowing you have a growing folder of proof that can destroy their life and they have absolutely no idea. How long do you think you could keep a completely straight face? How many dinners could you cook while hiding that kind of secret? Tell me in the comments, because this part of the story always blows my mind. Once the evidence was solid, Emily moved to step 2. Secure the future before you burn the bridge. She knew that if she confronted them too early, they could hide assets, drain accounts, or spin the narrative to make her look unstable. So she played the long game and protected herself and the kids first. She scheduled a secret meeting with a divorce lawyer who specialized in high-conflict cases involving infidelity. The lawyer reviewed the evidence and laid out the best strategy for their state's laws. Emily learned that because it was community property, she could move half of the liquid cash into a new account in her name only, without it being considered hiding assets if done correctly. She did exactly that over the next 2 weeks, moving money in small increments so it wouldn't trigger any alerts. She changed the beneficiary on her life insurance policy and her retirement accounts so Alex could not touch them. She opened a separate savings account for the kids' future expenses and started documenting every single expense related to the household and the children. She also lined up practical support. She quietly met with a child therapist who could help the kids through the coming storm without tipping anyone off. She reached out to a small circle of trusted friends who had no connection to Lisa and asked them to be on standby without giving details yet. She even updated her resume and started putting feelers out for ways to expand her online business because she knew she might need to rely on it more heavily. Throughout all of this, Alex continued living his double life thinking he was in control. He would come home from trips and complain about how stressful work was while Emily nodded sympathetically and asked if he wanted a back rub. The contrast between what he thought was happening and what was actually happening was almost surreal. Emily was building a fortress around herself and the kids while Alex and Lisa were still planning their romantic getaway once the divorce papers were signed. She never argued. She never cried in front of him. She simply prepared like a general getting ready for battle while the enemy thought it was still peacetime. Here is a quick pro tip straight from Emily's playbook that you should save if you ever find yourself in a situation where something feels off in your relationship. Never blow up the spot and start the confrontation until your money, your evidence, and your support system are completely locked down. Acting too fast out of emotion is exactly how people lose everything in these situations. If that advice resonates with you, drop a save emoji in the comments so you can come back to it later. With her finances protected and her evidence airtight, Emily moved to step 3. Choose the perfect moment for total exposure. She waited patiently for almost 2 full months after that initial discovery. She wanted the impact to be maximum and the audience to be as large as possible. The opportunity came in the form of Alex's company's big annual gala. It was the event of the year where all the top executives, important clients, their spouses, and business partners gathered in a fancy hotel ballroom. Alex had been talking about it for weeks, and of course Lisa had been invited as Emily's +1 because that's how close they all pretended to be. Emily told Alex she was coming down with a migraine and would probably stay home. He seemed relieved and didn't push it. On the night of the gala, Emily got dressed in a stunning black dress that made her look confident and powerful. She did her hair and makeup like she was going to war in the best way possible. Then she showed up at the venue with the private investigator as her actual +1. They walked in arm looking completely at ease. Alex was across the room networking and laughing with colleagues when he spotted her. His face went pale, but he tried to play it cool. Lisa was standing nearby chatting with some wives, and her expression when she saw Emily was pure panic. Emily waited until the perfect moment. Right as the CEO was giving his big speech about company values and integrity, Emily calmly walked up to the stage. She handed a USB drive to the AV technician and said quietly but firmly, "Play this." The technician, assuming it was part of the presentation, plugged it in. The giant screen behind the CEO suddenly lit up with photos, text messages, hotel receipts, and the damning audio recording of Alex and Lisa planning their future together while mocking Emily. The entire ballroom went dead silent. People gasped. Phones came out. Alex looked like he was going to faint. Lisa tried to slip out the back, but hotel security actually stopped her because they thought she might be stealing something in the chaos. Emily took the microphone for just 30 seconds. She looked straight at Alex and Lisa and said calmly, "Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone. I will be filing for divorce in the morning, and I suggest you both start looking for new living arrangements." Then she handed the mic back, walked off the stage, and left the ballroom with her head high. The damage was done. The video of the presentation somehow made its way around their social circles and professional networks within hours. By the next morning, everyone who mattered knew exactly what kind of people Alex and Lisa really were. Tell me that moment doesn't give you straight chills. Walking into a room full of your husband's colleagues and exposing the affair on the big screen while everyone watches. If this part of the story is hitting you hard right now, drop a fire emoji in the comments because I want to see how many people are feeling this level of satisfaction. Step 4 was the cleanup and the rise. Emily filed for divorce the very next business day. With all the evidence, the process was brutal for Alex and Lisa, but relatively swift and favorable for her. The judge took one look at the documented infidelity, the planned asset stripping, and the recordings and ruled heavily in Emily's favor. She kept the house, received primary custody of the kids, and got a substantial financial settlement that included ongoing child support and alimony. Alex was ordered to cover a large portion of the kids' future education expenses as well. Within a week of the gala, Alex lost his job. The company did not want the scandal attached to their public image, especially after the CEO had been publicly embarrassed. Clients started pulling contracts. His professional reputation was in tatters. Lisa fared no better. Their entire friend group turned on her. She lost several consulting clients who heard about the story, and she eventually moved to another state just to escape the constant whispers and judgment. Alex tried everything to win Emily back in the beginning. He showed up at the house with flowers and long apology letters. He begged her to reconsider for the sake of the kids. He even tried claiming that Lisa had seduced him and it was all a mistake. Emily never once engaged. She blocked his number, changed the locks, and communicated only through lawyers. She focused every ounce of her energy on the children and on rebuilding her business. Within 6 months, she had sold the suburban house, moved the family to a beautiful beach town with better schools and a fresh start, and doubled the revenue of her online business. She started dating again when she was ready and met a kind, respectful man who treated her and the kids with genuine care. Last anyone heard, Alex was living in a small one-bedroom apartment, struggling to make ends meet while still paying child support. He was single, bitter, and still trying to explain to anyone who would listen why his life had imploded so spectacularly. Lisa was somewhere far away, trying to rebuild a social circle that didn't know her history. Emily, on the other hand, was thriving. She woke up every morning in a home filled with peace and laughter. The kids were adjusting well and even seemed happier in the new environment. Her business was growing faster than ever because she poured all that pain into creative energy. And the best part, according to Emily herself, was not even the exposure or the money. It was the quiet satisfaction of knowing she had taken her power back completely. She refused to stay small while the people who betrayed her drowned in the consequences of their own choices. And here is the craziest part of the whole story. Emily says the sweetest revenge wasn't the public humiliation or the financial win. It was simply waking up every single day knowing she had chosen herself and her children and that she was building a better life without them. That kind of inner peace is something no one can take away once you claim it. Stories like Emily's are powerful because they remind us that betrayal does not have to be the end of your story. It can actually become the beginning of a much stronger chapter if you refuse to let the pain control you. Emily did not just survive what happened to her. She came out the other side more confident, more financially secure, and more at peace than she had been in years. She showed that revenge does not always have to be loud or violent or impulsive. Sometimes the most devastating and satisfying revenge is calm, calculated, and completely legal. It is protecting yourself, refusing to play the victim, and then watching as the people who tried to break you reap exactly what they sowed. This does not mean every situation will play out exactly like Emily's. Every relationship and every set of circumstances is different. But the principles she followed are worth remembering. Gather your evidence. Protect your future first. Choose your moment carefully. And then rise while they fall. If you are watching this right now and you have been through something similar, or you are currently sensing that something is off in your own life, I hope the story gives you a spark of strength. You do not have to stay stuck. You do not have to let someone else's bad choices define your worth or your future. You can choose to respond with intelligence and grace and come out stronger on the other side. If this story fired you up even half as much as it did me, hit that like button right now. It really helps the channel and lets me know you want more stories exactly like this one. If you are not already subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next betrayal or revenge story, because I have some absolute bangers coming up. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What would you have done if you were in Emily's shoes on that day she walked into the bedroom? Would you have confronted them immediately, or would you have played it cool like she did? Have you ever experienced a betrayal that forced you to level up in ways you never expected? Share your story. I read every single comment, and some of the best ones end up inspiring future videos. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember to stay sharp, stay strong, and stay savage when life tries to knock you down. I will see you in the very next video. Take care.